Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Coaching Hive podcast. If you have been following along for the past month, you know that we have sat down with Julie, who is now a full-time health coach. At the beginning of the month, you heard her as she was transitioning from a different full-time job into being a full-time entrepreneur. And as we have been chatting over the weeks and working on her business, you've seen how she has developed a rhythm and a routine for her day so that she can be productive and really get moving forward. We talked about how to generate more leads. And today we talk about how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you shift the perspective of the person who is seeing your social media posts, reading your emails, or in other ways, just interacting with you in your world? And so I think you're going to get some really great insights from what Julie and I discuss in this episode of the Coaching Hive podcast. Now, I don't want to take up any more time before we dive in, but just one quick thing. The Coaching Hive is now open for enrollment the whole way through March 31st at the end of the day. So if you are enjoying these mentoring calls and you feel like you would benefit from a community of peers and mentors with whom to troubleshoot, think about new ideas, and just get settled into your coaching business, now is the time. You can go to www.coachinghive.com/join to learn more. And on that join page, you will actually see an option to get the replay of last week's Profitable Health Coach Masterclass. So go ahead and head on over to coachinghive.com/join to learn more. And with our theme of simplicity, clarity, and vision for 2022 in mind, let's jump in. I'm Dr. Maura, and this is the Coaching Hive podcast. So you are back from spring break.
Yes, ma'am.
You are ready to get back in the flow of things.
Yes.
You have your letters ready to go out.
Yes. And they're probably actually going to go out today. Or no, I'm going to wait probably till Wednesday to get them out. But I'm going to get all of them customized and just sitting in drafts so that all I have to do is just hit send and they're out the door.
Perfect. Because sending on a Monday after spring break, it's going to be in the midst of the flutter that happens. So I think you're smart.
Yeah. So I'm going to stick to Wednesday, but I'm going to get them all drafted up today.
Perfect. And then it's so easy. You can just hit send, and be done with it.
Yes, that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So how are you feeling about those letters?
Really good. I like it. I think it works well. I want to take kind of the same concept and tailor it to companies to do like corporate wellness things, because that's also a big deal right now. But that's probably like a 3 to 5 on the list right now. I'm still working on trying to get consistent with social media. I've got to get back into the swing of things as far as my working out and my eating and like the personal things that I'm working on for the personal goals that I have. Mm-hmm. So that's going to kind of be the next couple of days. Grace is out of school today. I guess teachers needed a work day to get back into the swing of thing after spring break. I don't know.
I don't blame them.
So she's out of school today. I've got doctor's appointment. So today's kind of just a, laundry, unpacking, getting things put away. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow kind of coming in and getting my week kicked off. So that's kind of what it looks like right now.
Okay. So you think you'll do your planning for the rest of the week today?
Yes, I've actually already done my calendar for the rest of the week.
Perfect. So you're already getting back into the swing of it.
Yes, I'm already getting back into the swing of it. I'm just not holding myself to, I got up this morning when the alarm went off at 5:45. Keith is traveling a lot this week. So we spent a little bit of time together this morning before all the craziness started, and I got ready, have makeup on, I'm dressed. So yeah, I'm kind of I've got it going. There's just like, I didn't go to the grocery store yesterday. We were at softball tournament all weekend. And, then we've had really, really bad wildfires here in Texas. And so some of our friends have, potentially, well, their house was saved, but last night they were being evacuated and things like that. So I just didn't get a lot done last night that I should have gotten done, but that's okay. I'm going to get it done today. And then I have my meal plans already written out for the whole week, for breakfast, snacks, lunch. I have my workouts written out. So I need to focus today on my social media plan for both my business page and for my personal page, my branding page, and kind of see what that looks like this week.
Okay.
And I've got to go through emails. I haven't gone through emails. So that's a big thing today.
Okay. All right. So thinking about, so what I'm hearing is really getting back into the groove of things, but also then getting those letters ready to go out to school districts. And in the back of your brain, you've got this idea of corporate stuff. So you're thinking about how that might work, how you can take what you're already creating and kind of just morph it into something that could work in a corporation. But it's kind of lower on the list. So we're not super concerned about it. But then social media is really at the top of your bucket right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So how can you take the work that you've done for the school district, that letter that you've written, right? We worked so hard on coming up with talking about what transformation you're providing or offering along that path, not just here are the services I have, but how can I really help? How can you take that work you've done in writing those letters and apply it to your social media? Can you pull snippets out?
I can pull snippets out of it. I can pull snippets. Yes. And then I've also, last week I worked on just kind of, I was looking at stuff that Jasmine Starr did. And then the other lady,
Amy Porterfield.
Yes. Thank you. I can never remember her name. And then there's another lady that I found last week. Okay. I'll have to look in the email because I signed up for her newsletter as well. But just kind of looking at things that they have done and what they use their social media for. So there was one lady, it might have been on the Dr. Sears page or on the Master Health Coaching page, where they just took a picture of one of the activities that we do in the master class. And took a picture of it and did a post with that. And I was like, well, that's really kind of cool, and different. So sometimes to me, the obvious is really hard for me to see because I'm getting so caught up in trying to like make it like something so robust. So I started going back through all the activities that we did. So like the wellness wheel and things like that, and thought, okay, it would be really easy for me just to snap a picture of the wellness wheel and do an easy post about that to promote, health coaching. And it doesn't have to be super salesy, but really asking more of a question of the people looking at it, the dimensions of wellness and learning more about that. So I'm kind of playing with that a little bit and looking at some of the things that, how do I say this? That to me are not, I guess, post worthy or newsworthy because it's stuff that we use, but it's not so obvious to the person that's reading it. Yes. Does that make sense?
It does. So you really are now starting to think you've kind of shifted and out of your perspective and really trying to come at it from the perspective of your potential clients. That's a huge shift in perspective.
Yes.
And realizing that, what's commonplace to us really isn't for them. Even the concept, you bring up the wellness wheel, the concept of thinking about your core values on a regular basis and how your daily decisions need to be aligned with that. Right. Yes. So, yes, we all have values, but how many people stop and think about their core values and how does this action align with it?
Right.
So if I eat
So-
the gallon of ice cream, does that really align with my core values? Probably not.
Right. So yes, that's a good way of putting it. Just kind of shifting the perspective from the way I look at it to more of the client perspective. And so from like what we did with the letter was really trying to find a solution to something that they needed and wanted, right?
Yeah.
So
it wasn't
that's-
your perspective that mattered.
it
It was
my perspective.
yes.
It was from their perspective of what is their needs and what is their wants and how can I meet those needs and wants.
Correct.
So it's kind of the same thing with what I'm trying to get through the minutia on where I want to be with my social media and really working with clients is kind of that, taking that from that letter and looking at it from their perspective.
Yes.
And also I think what we did in the letter was with the school administration, they're in the middle of all the muck, right? So they may not be necessarily thinking about the wellness or the different things that the teachers and the staff need right now. It's more about survival of the fittest to make sure they're meeting all their benchmarks and they're meeting this and they're meeting that. And they're probably just trying to do everything they can to meet those, when in reality, if we could do a couple of these other things like the workshops or the simple things of easy breakfast and movement moments in the classroom, then that might make some of these other things easier. So really making them hopefully sit back and kind of go, I've never really thought about it that way,
Yes.
or I've never taken that perspective. So I'm trying to make them think outside the box as well, right? I'm trying to do it. So I'm trying to make them do the same thing.
Yes.
So kind of taking that perspective with my social media and with clients. And I feel like if I take that perspective, it doesn't need to be super salesy. It's, if you want to learn more, here's my website, or, direct message me or email me, something like that, but kind of putting information out there or little tidbits of information that makes someone go, I haven't thought about it that way, or I've never really thought about that. It's, they're just trying to eat healthy and work out, and maybe they're burned out on it, and maybe it's not eating healthy and working out that they need to focus on right now.
Yep. Absolutely. That's a huge shift, and it will make all the difference, because what's happening is there are lots of health coaches, and not so many that the market is saturated, but there are plenty of health coaches. And they're all posting recipes, or they're posting, this is what you should be doing for movement, or this is the activity you should be doing, or this is the sleep you should get. Whereas if you shift perspectives and you start talking about the challenges that your potential clients are having, and they feel seen and heard and understood, whose post are they going to stop and actually read?
Right. Hopefully mine.
Yours.
That's the goal.
Yours. Yeah, because it's different. It stands out. It's not what everyone else is doing. So by focusing on those challenges and those transformations, that's where you get that stop the scroll kind of deal.
Right.
That's how you get it. And then you could, you brought up a great idea. Say, DM me or check out my link in the bio. You can make it even easier. If you want to start getting those DMs, give them a specific word to DM you. Then it's not on them to come up with a message to you. It's simple.
Okay.
So if the post is about the wellness wheel, DM me the word wheel. If you'd like to learn more, or if you want to talk or whatever it is, but DM me the word and just give them a single word to type, because then it's on you to have a message, not on them. You're just removing friction points.
Okay. That's a good idea.
And I've seen it work really well. I know someone who runs her entire business based on DMs. She has no sales page. She has very little website to speak of, because she tells people to DM her a specific word, and then she's in charge of the conversation and getting it going. And I've seen it work beautifully. I've seen many people do that, not just her, but I can think of her right off the top of my head.
Okay. I like that.
Even if you're asking for comments in your post, like if you have the picture of the wellness wheel, what's your favorite part of the wheel? And just then it's very specific that you want them to post nutrition, financial, emotional, whatever part of the wellness wheel speaks to them that day. It's easy. It's not a full-blown comment, but it gives you a chance to then say, so I see you chose emotional well-being. And you can talk a little bit about that or share a little anecdote, but it gives you that chance to respond back to them without it being on them.
Them to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
We want to keep it as simple as possible for our potential clients to start the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. And definitely take, what we worked on in that letter and the perspective, that difference of how are we really going about this? It's not about selling the services. It's about sharing the transformation or the problem that we can solve. Talk about that.
Okay. And then I also, for the letter, I have to add in those, I don't have it here in front of me. The points where you did like the 3 points that I have to come up with for each one of them.
Yes.
I need to add.
Okay.
I forgot about that, but I've got to add those in this week.
Those will be simple.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
My key takeaways.
Yeah.
Instead of topics discussed, we did key takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to come up with the 3 key takeaways, 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
I have 3 on my living healthy presentation because it's nutrition, lifestyle, and movement.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that one, those will work. For how does your daily routine impact your life? I had 2 down for that one.
That's perfect.
And then the impact on students' wellness. I already have 1, which we tied in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the dimensions of wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And I may just add 1 more to that and leave it at 2.
Okay. I think that's fine. The workshop that has 3 is kind of inherently bigger.
Yes.
Because it has more depth to it, more breadth to it, not necessarily depth, but breadth. So absolutely 3 is fine. And then the other 2, you have 2 points that share that. The key is that now those administrators reading your letter know what the people walk away with, right?
Yes.
It's not just about nutrition. It's about this.
And I also thought about when I was doing my social media, just going back to pulling takeaways from this and doing social media. I like the key takeaways. So I feel like I could even that could be something I do with some of my social media posts. If I'm talking about the wellness wheel, and then just put like one simple, key takeaway and just, add that at the end of my post and put like something, the main point of what the wellness wheel is or what my post is about. So, I could pull that in too.
You can also so thinking about that, you could do a carousel post where you've got multiple graphics.
Yes.
And what if you had key takeaway 1, key takeaway 2? What if I told you it's not so hard to figure this out? Look at the wellness wheel.
Yes. So that could be something I could pull in from the letter as well.
Yep. So there are lots of ways to use that. You could even put the key takeaway at the start of your content for the actual blurb for the post so that it grabs someone's attention versus at the end where they may have stopped reading.
Yes. Okay.
So those are the kinds of things you want to play with and see what gets good engagement. What's getting you the comments or the DMs? Is it, putting the key takeaway at the top or the bottom or the middle? What does it look like? Is it adding in emojis or not for your clients? Do they like video versus carousel posts? So outside your comfort zone.
Yes. Everything is, well, doing social media is not outside my comfort zone, but, and looking at the analytics, all of that, I'm good with. It's the whole video, which I did not, we were on an entire week of vacation. There's not one picture of me because I'm taking all the pictures. There's seriously not a picture of me at all, even with my family on spring break 2022. There's not one single picture of me or video or anything.
Oh, okay.
So that's where, which I just have to, which I did not ski with Keith and Grace, and a couple, quite a few of the pictures in the video, them skiing and things like that. Then they went tubing and I was there for that, but I was taking all of the pictures. There was a really cool rock that said Red River, New Mexico on it. And I have a picture of Grace with the rock, but it just never crossed my mind to like grab a picture or even me shopping or anything else. So that's where I'm just going to I have to communicate to Grace and Keith, hey, I'm going to have your help on this. And Keith even said, he's like, I have got to get better at taking pictures. Like he spent an entire day with Grace on the slopes and I had one picture of them right before they got on the slopes for the entire day. That's it.
Okay. So let's reframe this for a minute because it's easy to get wrapped up in what we didn't do, right? But last week we talked about the fact that you were going to kind of unplug a little bit in the sense that it was self-care. It was going to be about your family. Yes, you were going to do some work, but really last week was all about your family. And if you were so wrapped up in the moment that you didn't think I should take my camera out and tell someone else to take a picture of me, of this rock and me, so I can use it in a social media post a week or two from now, well, then that tells me you were focused on your family and you were focused on staying in the moment rather than getting wrapped up in business, which you had purposely chosen to set aside during that time.
Right. That's true. That's true. But I have nothing to use, not even for like our album. Like I keep all of our photos like in, I've got them on Google Photos and Amazon Photos and everything else. And so, I went through the entire album. There's not one picture of mom so it looks like Keith and Grace went on spring break. I didn't go.
Okay. So from a family perspective, yes, absolutely. Enlist their help. Say, hey, when I say, do you want a picture with the rock? You should respond to me. Yeah. I also want to get a picture of you with the rock.
Right. So
you start conditioning that response of, yes, I want the picture. Can I take one of you?
Yes,
little give and take there.
So Keith even admitted, he was like, I've got to get better at taking pictures and doing stuff. So that is something that when we talk about getting out of the comfort zone or even thinking outside of the box, those are the things that I need to be more cognizant and more aware of. Just because it will, it's going to make things more organic, I think, in nature. And it's going to be easier for me to move forward and keep growing my business in both areas. So in my coaching and personal training business, and then also in my branding. I think it'll just make things so much easier. So we're going to, Grace can go to the grocery store with me today and I have my makeup on and my hair's fixed and I am in like not dressy clothes, but that's okay. I'm put together.
Who goes to the grocery store in dressy clothes?
I don't know, but I'm like in long sleeve t-shirt and my joggers and my tennis shoes. Cause I also have no idea what, I've got to go to the doctor. So I didn't want to have to like take off 12 layers of clothes if I should have to. That's never fun. So, but it could be, me just looking at a label, like picking up two things and her just getting like a profile shot of me doing that. Or me doing a selfie at the checkout line with Grace and talking about, family shopping trips or, just something fun, like Grace and I taking the day to go grocery shopping. So
yep.
I just need to be able to do that and not feel super self-conscious about it. Cause I think that's part of my part of my challenge is I feel super self-conscious because I want it to be perfect. Like I need everything in it to be perfect. And I'll take the same selfie picture 12 times because my smile's not right, or like one eyebrow is higher than the other. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
why?
I know. So does Grace like to tell jokes?
Yeah, she does kind of sometimes. Yes.
Okay. So she is your best weapon, for lack of a better word here, because, she tells you a joke and you start laughing and she snaps that picture. You laughing and having fun will look good 9 times out of 10.
Okay.
You laughing because she said, well, why, whatever. And you start laughing and she's snapping that picture. Some of the best pictures I've gotten are when my child is standing behind my husband who has the camera and he is dancing or doing something silly, because of course I'm laughing at it because it's entertaining.
Right.
And he grabs the pictures then, because otherwise, you look at it, you go, well, my eyebrows look funny, or this looks weird, or, oh, my eye is scrunchy and it shouldn't be. And this, well, I just look weird in this one. And it just kind of takes that away, because when we're genuinely happy about what we're doing, or we're happy in the moment, that comes through. That changes how our eyes look. It changes how we see the picture afterward. It changes everything.
Okay.
And so look for those moments where you're having fun. And if you don't find those naturally, artificially create them. Jokes, funny dancing, all kinds of things work wonders.
Like, oh my gosh, who thought this would be the hardest part of my job, right?
That's why we're talking about it, because it's challenging for most people to step outside that comfort zone and to not be overly critical of ourselves. We are so much more critical of ourselves than anyone else will ever be.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. So this week is all about social media. You are going to look for those opportunities for pictures. You're going to enlist your family to help you find those picture moments. And so if you take, thank goodness we have digital photography these days. So what if you take 300 pictures and you find 2 that you like? It didn't cost you anything.
Right. That's true.
It did not cost you 18 rolls of film being developed, hoping for the best when you got them back. You remember that.
Right. Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just have to do that. And then I need to, while I was sitting here thinking about it, I need to create a Google, like a shared album that I can drop all of these photos into, or as Keith captures them, or Grace, we can drop them into a Google shared folder. Because if not, they just they're on my phone, right? And then you got to go back through and scan through a bazillion pictures to try to find the one that you are wanting.
Scrolling.
So you know what, as I'm thinking about that, that's going on my list right now, is I need to create a Google shared album between Keith, Grace, and I. And I can just title
dump.
Yeah. And I can tell, mom's work pictures, or, something like that. And then as they capture pictures or whatever, just dump them in there, and I can go, but I don't even have to look at them. I mean, they can just dump them as they capture them. So, okay. I'm going to write that. I need to get that done. That would be the easiest way to share those.
Absolutely. So Julie, I love, this is your 7 weeks into your business? 6 or 7 now, I think.
Maybe, I don't know. My last day at work was February the 11th. So yeah, probably about 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay. And you are taking all of these steps forward. You have thought about how to reach out to new partners and build these collaborations with the school districts. You are starting to be more intentional sharing your business with people when you sit down to lunch. You are thinking about social media, but in a way that will serve not just social media, but also you're starting to think about how you talk about what you do differently.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not just about social media. It's about really that message that you're trying to share. you have already gotten a workable rhythm or routine for your week, for your day, so that you are not ignoring self-care, which is really easy to do when you're starting a business.
Yes.
So think about all of the things that you've accomplished just in the last few weeks. It's pretty big.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, that was my goal though, when I set out to do this, was to look at it from a quality perspective versus a quantity perspective. So, because I knew for me to keep sane, and that's the
top
nature
priority.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of what it is I felt, for me personally, if I went into this thinking I've got to replace my salary, I need 10 new clients in 60 days, and I need, these three other things, that I just didn't feel that that was the best strategy for me. That I needed to look at it from a quality perspective and figure a few things out personally. So the rhythm was a big one. And trying to get that in place and figure out what I wanted things to look like and how I wanted the process to go. And then I'm hoping that, long term, the clients will start to come on once I get a few of these things figured out. But I know that's not everybody's rhythm, and I know that's not everybody's perspective, and not everybody has that same or has the same luxury of being able to step back and look at it from that view. But I felt that was important for me to get a few of these things checked off. So I feel like I have a pretty good rhythm going right now. I am very goal oriented. So I'm writing down my goals and writing down my to-do list for the week. And I've been successful at checking those off and adding to it when I need to add things to it. And then also respecting my space. And if I don't have time for it this week, or it's not a top 3 or a top 5, it's okay. It goes into the ongoing section of my list so that I don't forget about it. It's still important. It's still something I want to do, but it's not a priority for this week on my list.
Absolutely.
So
that's key. Because you're right. That's what keeps you sane. We cannot accomplish everything that we want to accomplish right when we want to accomplish it.
No. And if you look, I've also learned, that by learning from other people that are doing social media and learning from other people that are doing health coaching, or just learning from other entrepreneurs, regardless of what field or category they're in, things can seem like it's all put together. Right? It's kind of like an Instagram page or a Facebook page. Everything looks one way on the surface, but when you start getting into the muck of it, it doesn't look anything like that. So being able to give myself some grace and going, you know what, these people have probably been doing this for 2 or 3 years and they learned from other people. Yeah. So I've got to give myself that same grace. And if it's not a perfect picture, and if it's not a perfect post, and if I don't get any responses from it, that's okay. I just got to keep going and keep doing it over and over and over. And it's going to stick at some point. It will stick.
Yes. That's the key. Rinse and repeat, but you don't just rinse and repeat, you rinse, adjust, and repeat.
Right. Like, just keep learning, keep figuring it out. What's working, what's not working. If I don't get a response at all from a post, that's okay. Do another post, do another, ask, however I want to phrase it or reframe it, and do another one. But, wellness wheel, that's new to a lot of people. So that may be really overwhelming. So maybe I take pieces of the wellness wheel. I do one post that's introducing the wellness wheel. And then for the next, 12 days, I take a piece of the wellness wheel and I talk a little bit about that and have them respond to that piece of it. But it's just kind of, figuring that out. What does it look like? And it's going to change. It's always changing. So I think our phone calls every week, and the guidance that you give and the feedback that you give and the ideas that you give are definitely priceless to me right now. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, just being able to learn as much as you can.
Yep. I think that's key. You know, at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur means being willing to learn
Yes.
and then
And
to
that,
implement, not just to stop at learning, but to implement and try things out. That kind of
yes.
sums it up.
Yes, you have to be able to execute it. It's got to be executable. And if it's not executable for me, then it comes off of the list and I have to do something that's executable.
Correct. And there are so many options out there. You don't have to keep something on your list that does not serve you.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Julie, I'm so excited for you. You have so many little things just kind of moving in the right direction without introducing the overwhelm and the chaos that sometimes comes with a business. It feels like you've got things kind of settled for now and have those big next steps to take and have a plan for continuing to grow along your journey. So I think you're in a great place. And it sounds like you feel like that as well.
Yeah, I do.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So that kind of wraps up another snippet of my conversations with Julie. And I hope that as you've been listening to this series, you have gained a few new ideas and had the opportunity to see what building a business as a health coach really looks like. There are no silver bullets. There are no magic potions that can take away the importance of really setting a routine and a rhythm for yourself, really thinking about your coaching business as a car with different components that have to be attended to as you are building, growing, and scaling your coaching opportunities. So you need to start thinking about what is your vision for your business. You want to think about how are you going to share that with the world? What will you say? What kinds of relationships are you going to build so that you don't have to do all the heavy lifting by yourself? What kind of web presence are you going to develop? We were talking about that in today's episode of the podcast, right? What kind of marketing and sales mechanism are you going to use as you grow your business, as you start signing your clients? What kind of learning do you need to engage in to make sure you have the skills and the tools necessary to grow, build, and scale your business? And what kinds of products would you like to offer? There are so many options out there these days that we aren't just constrained to one-on-one coaching or group coaching. As my Coaching Hive members know, I have a revenue streams Kickstarter inside the Coaching Hive experience to help them start thinking outside the box and exploring ideas that work for them. Think about those products and services in a new and different way. So that brings us to our key action item for the week. I want you to start thinking about how you will stand out from the crowd. There are just under 7,000 national board certified health and wellness coaches in the world, and there are about 8 billion people. So there's plenty of room for all health coaches, whether you're board certified or not, to serve in the community. There's more than enough people to go around for all of the health coaches out there. So what are you going to do to stand out? But then also the second part of this is what are you going to do to support other health coaches? What relationships are you going to seek out? What collaborations, what partnerships can you seek out in the next week or two that will help you build, grow, and scale your coaching business in a way that works for you? And if you are interested in more of these mentoring opportunities, I invite you to check out the Coaching Hive at coachinghive.com/join. As I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, the doors are open for the Coaching Hive experience and Coaching Hive Elite. If you are ready to take your business to the next level and you are ready for a high touch, high focus experience, I would like to invite you to check out Coaching Hive Elite and Coaching Hive Experience at coachinghive.com/join. The doors close on Thursday, March 31st at the end of the day. So you just have a few days left reach out. Let me know if you have questions. And of course, take time to think about what action you can take in your business right now. I look forward to seeing you back here next week for another episode of the Coaching Hive podcast, where a focus on mentoring and community removes the overwhelm of building your successful coaching business and adds in a dose of momentum. Until next time, have a healthy, safe, and happy week.